Live from Hollywood, California, it's the Nighttime Show. I'm the voice of the Nighttime Show, Mike Black. With us, as always, our head writer, Matt Walker. Today, our special guest, world-renowned photographer and star of the upcoming YouTube Red PROVOCATEUR, Tyler Shield. And now, the juiciest lemon in your lemonade, our host, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Oh, baby, yeah. Hi. Wow.
Holy shit.
Right?
That is impressive.
He's a beast.
Who just let him out of the cage like that?
He comes out of the cage and he just doesn't fucking stop. He does. This is the one big thing he does a day.
Can I take you to meetings with me?
I took all the energy I've got
Yeah,
for the
you
day.
gonna sleep now?
Yeah.
So that's why he needed the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Firstly.
He gets it up.
My parents were carnival bunkers.
Secondly, you know what that reminded me of back in the day when you would enter a room, there would be somebody to announce you. And
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah. You need that.
Parties?
That's why we have
I'll
this
do
guy.
parties. Let me know.
Holy shit, I'm taking you with me somewhere. If I ever get married.
And
I'm
now
gonna have-
entering Denny's.
Yes.
World-renowned photographer.
Yes.
Tyler Shields. I love it.
Wow.
This is such an honor to be in your home. We're in your home with you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Very cool. You have a very cool house.
Thank you.
I know there is some splatters of paint
Yes,
still
yes.
around from the current shoot that you're doing, and I've seen photos of it.
Yep.
It's who do you pick to shoot in the face with paint?
Well, whoever's crazy enough to do it is firstly. But what's interesting about the paint stuff is you can't even tell really who's in the photos.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the best part is they're like, wait, that could be any of us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but that one's you. And they're like, damn right it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How did that one come about? Like, how did you decide to do that?
To give you a short answer on the technical side of it is I always had a hard time photographing paint or things of that type of, with that much color in them with digital cameras.
Right.
And as you can see here, I have all these big old film cameras. And I found a certain type of film that could actually get the real color. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'd always wanted to do something with paint like that. But it could never properly translate the real color. Like the digital color was just always too mushy to me. It never looked real. And so I found that film. And then I was like, okay, now we can do it. The only problem is the camera only takes one picture at a time. So every one of those pictures you see, it's just one picture. Then you have to reload the film. That's it.
Oh my god!
So you don't get to choose from like 10 of them. It's like this.
No.
it.
That's it. So literally, it's like, okay, here we go, and I have to do it like, I have to, because the camera's all in a case and shit. So I have to put my hand in like this, and then I'm organizing everybody who's about to throw, and I'm like, okay. And I always say we're doing it Lethal Weapon style, which is we go 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
And so it's like 1, 2, 3, and then.
Wow.
And one shot.
Man.
That's it.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's
So if you miss, you got to totally redo.
you have to redo.
Everything.
Yeah, you have to redo the whole thing.
Oh man.
And there would be times where we could do a couple tosses, but
Sure.
But it was crazy. It would be to reset everything minimum 2 to 3 minutes between shots.
Yeah.
So they can't see. And what was really weird is people lost their equilibriums. So I have to demonstrate this. So, you have to be straight on, right?
Right.
But then what would happen is,
Just pull the mic.
yeah. What would happen is people would just start to do this where they're turning. And I'd be like, you're turning. And they're like, which way?
Oh my
Oh,
god!
wow.
What?
They didn't know. They did. And so we had a system where I would tap them because they did. If I said right or left, no idea. No idea. Right or left meant nothing. Like turn up, down meant nothing. They just completely, because their eyes were closed. They couldn't really hear. It was. I've
So
never.
it was
sensory deprivation.
sensory. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. And I've shot people doing crazy stuff, but like when you say to a grown woman, like turn left, and they're like this,
Whoa, my god! They turned to the right like that.
and up.
Oh my god!
It was always up or down. It was really crazy.
And are you shooting that in your home?
Backyard.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fucking bananas.
Yeah, it
So
was
people
wild.
are like behaving like when a video game controller gets stuck.
Yeah.
And they're just turning right over
Yes.
and over.
Yes.
You know?
No, I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
man.
it was really wild.
That's really incredible. And I've seen a few of those photos on your Instagram and just like that
Yeah.
people are posting and stuff. They're,
Yeah.
they're fucking
Thank
crazy
you.
looking. They're really amazing. That's so interesting. Before we get too far into what you're currently doing, let's jump back a
Yeah.
little bit. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you been there?
I have.
I'm sorry.
I know, you made it out. You
Yes,
escaped.
that's right.
It's your fault.
fun.
Yeah. No, yeah. So
It's
I grew
a
up.
swamp.
I grew up there. Yeah, largest landmass city in the United States. That's
Sure.
the claim to fame.
That's something.
Yeah, right.
We did it.
Half of it's underwater, half of here.
Mass.
There's, my favorite thing is, and I get there's a barbecue restaurant there, and I have them mail me the sauce.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Woody's Barbecue.
Okay.
Best tangy mustard sauce you can buy.
Son of a
good to
bitch.
know.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
I lit up like Christmas when I heard that. I was like,
Yeah.
and
Tangy
what is that
bourbon.
place called?
Yeah. Tangy mustard.
flying there tomorrow.
If a fellow wanted to look
Yeah.
into that, where
Yeah.
would
Where did you have brothers and sisters?
No, only child.
Only child.
Dad was in the military. Mom did dad, and that was basically that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of artsy people in your family, or were
No.
you kind of on your own?
No. The first time when I was a kid, I skated, so I knew skate
Yeah.
photographers.
Sure.
And nobody really had cameras back then. You'd be like two people in the neighborhood. Like there'd be the one weird guy that had a dark room, and he
Yeah.
and then you had disposable cameras.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. The only photographer that I had ever heard of until I was in probably my 20s, aside from skate photographers, was Ansel Adams.
Wow. Yeah.
And
right.
then Annie Leibovitz, like a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was it.
Why did you get into skateboarding? Like, what brought you into that?
So this is funny. I raced motocross I started racing motocross when I was 7. So I raced with like Ricky Carmichael and Bubba Smith and all those guys. And then I actually became a pro rollerblader when I was 12.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I was a world champion when I was 15. I went to the X Games. I did all that.
Whoa.
So what does that
when
entail?
when you mentioned racing, you said you raced against Bubba Smith,
Yeah.
like the football player Bubba Smith?
No.
No.
There's a
Motocross
motocross
guy.
champion.
I was-
Yeah.
Wow, did I have a different image in my
Yeah,
head?
that would
when
be
you said
amazing. I could definitely beat the football player on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's a big motorcycle
He
he's
would
gotta
be
ride.
slow.
Yeah.
I was like, I had no idea he had this whole other
So I
career.
did that.
So what does being a world champion rollerblader entail? Like, how does that work? Like, who decides? Who's the
there's
best?
a contest. You go and then you win. And,
Of course,
And
but-
they're like, you're the champion.
But I mean, like, is there like a
How
whole
most
circuit you
contests
go
go.
on?
Oh yeah. It was a whole. I didn't go to high school.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
like that was enough. It was paying your
Whoa.
bills and everything.
Oh yeah, I made I hosted TV show for ESPN when I was like 13, 14.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on the X Games. I did all that. I was sponsored. Like I skated for Sony, Panasonic, Gatorade, like all these people.
So you used to hang out with Sean White and
No.
No?
Sean
He's
White
after you?
Sean White was way after me.
after you. Okay.
Yeah, I was 12 when I turned
As
pro.
a redhead, I'm obligated to bring him
Yeah,
up.
smart.
That's how it works.
That's understandable.
Yeah, so I did that. Didn't go to high school. Just made it through halfway of 8th grade, and then I was like, I'm going on tour in Europe. Wow. Never went back.
That would be such a great thing to tell a teacher.
Right? Oh, I had a teacher who hated me.
What class?
So it was a technologies class, and the teacher was Mr. Langley. And Mr. Langley, I hope you're listening to this. So he had this thing where he had a paper airplane game, where if you could get a paper airplane to go across the room, then you didn't have to do any schoolwork for the whole year. But he'd rigged it with he turned the air conditioner on, so the way that the wind hit, any paper airplane would crash.
Right.
So I waited until everybody else went, and then he said, well, where's your plane? And everybody, spent all his time making the planes, and I was just like, oh, this game is rigged, okay. So I took a piece of paper, and I balled it up, and I threw it across the room, and I won.
Oh shit.
And he was fucking pissed.
Wow.
I got into a whole thing. I had to have my mother come in, and then we got into a whole debate about, does an airplane have to have wings, and if it
Oh
does.
my god.
And then he
hilarious.
literally said, well, Tyler's plane was not American. And I'm like, I got you. Like, what? So now you've acknowledged that it's a plane, and now we're just debating on the origin of where the plane comes
Oh
from.
my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But when I left,
But was it a Chinese tree that they made the paper out of?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
So
go. Good question, Matt.
I went in and halfway through 8th grade, and I gave him back the textbooks or whatever, because that was what we did back then.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, "You will never succeed at anything technology related."
Oh my.
The last thing ever. And I said,
Yeah.
just gave him a thumbs up, and I was out.
Yeah, that's the best thing a teacher can say to a student that will make them a millionaire.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's
100%. Because then for the rest of your life, you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm so much better than you forever.
We'll see. You know?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how this
And I
goes.
love that a technology teacher was using paper fucking airplanes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was
What a
hysterical.
piece of shit.
It was
That's
so
amazing.
funny. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I'd like to
man.
go back there and see him.
You should.
You know?
You should go back and go.
Yeah.
And
What if I just walked into the class in the middle of the day and just balled up a piece of paper? And he's like, "You."
Yeah, totally.
We had a
You
showdown.
should throw it at his head from
Yeah.
across the room.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to see how much technology he actually invested in over time.
Oh,
Like,
my
If
God.
he's into Bitcoin now.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Maybe he's a billionaire.
He's
Yeah.
still using
I
a
highly
laser
doubt
disc
it.
player.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's like, no,
"They're
you
gonna
got to
come back."
understand the quality.
Right,
It's
the quality of the laser disc is going to come back.
It's just so good.
and the mini DV player, it's really
Oh,
incredible.
yes.
That's so funny. Hey, I know we got a lot of artists and a lot of musicians that listen to the Nighttime Show and have been on the Nighttime Show, but I'll tell you what a lot of them are missing. They're missing merch, okay? And it is very easy to have an amazing merch store with Artist Shops by Threadless. Just add your art to hundreds of clothing, accessories, and home decor items in just minutes. Plus, it's fully customizable so you can make your shop totally unique to your style. But the best part is, here's the best part, it's 100% free to sign up. Zero minimums, zero monthly fees. You even set your own prices so you can control how much money goes into your pocket. And with millions of dollars paid to artists to date, there is a lot of moolah to be made, okay? Artists, designers, podcasters, free up all the time that you'd be spending at the post office, shipping, dealing with customer service, and put it towards what you love, being creative, okay? Threadless takes care of the rest of it. And with 100,000 shop owners and 4 million users, just join the party. Head to artistshops.com/SKG to sign up right now. That's artistshops.com/SKG to sign up right now. Also, the Nighttime Show partnered with Threadless, so we have something amazing. You need to go check it out. We got mugs, shower curtains, t-shirts, sweaters, anything you can imagine. We have it for sale, Nighttime Show style. Go check it out. It's thenighttimeshow.threadless.com. That's thenighttimeshow.threadless.com, and check out our store with all of our cool stuff. It's so awesome. Let's get back to the show. When I was a kid, because I didn't have any friends
Not you, Steven.
What? I'd go and try to hang out with all the skateboarders.
Yeah.
And we had this guy Chris Markovich,
Okay.
and a guy named Johnny Webb, who had both been in Thrasher magazine.
Wow.
And it was like a big deal. They were like high school students, but they were in junior high with me at the time, and so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go follow these guys around and film them with my dad's VHS camera. And so I filmed them, and then I sent the VHS tapes. I edited them in Video Toaster.
Wow.
So that dates me a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I sent the VHS
What was
tapes.
Jesus like?
Oh, he was great guy. Didn't come into the store very much, but I'd send the tapes off to like Plan B and like
Wow.
Teabag. I grew up in San Diego,
Yeah,
so there
yeah,
was
yeah.
there were like skate companies around,
Yeah.
and like Mike McGill's skate shop, and like I'd give them skate videos, and then they'd give me free clothes in exchange for the skate
Well, the
videos.
skateboarders never liked rollerbladers, but I was a child, and I could do backflips and 720s, and I could do like 10-foot airs. So all the old skateboarder guys were really nice to me, and they
Sure.
would look out for me. So if somebody else was mean, they would always defend me because I was literally like a tiny little kid.
You're the smallest one out there. Probably.
Yeah, for sure. By years.
How old were the people you were beating in these contests?
20s and 30s.
Oh
man.
Yeah.
They must hate
Brutal.
you.
And this is what's funny too is they would all party.
Yeah.
And so I've never drank or done drugs or smoked ever in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And not for religious reasons, just because I just never did.
Sure.
But I would be around all these guys, and they would just give me such a hard time about it. Like they were just like, oh, whatever. They just give me like the hardest time about it. And then my only defense was, well, I'm a child and I made more money than you today.
Oh man.
That's kind of all you need.
And they're like, oh, fuck.
Holy shit.
Because, it's like, you don't need to give me a hard time, but if you want to give me a hard time, then,
Yeah.
Or I'm a child. We're making the same amount of money, but, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And you're a grown man.
You're an adult man.
Yeah.
That comeback is going to trump everything every time. That's
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you transition from being a skater to
So
being a photographer? Where does that switch happen?
Well, I was out on a tour and I'd hurt my knee, and I was like, I don't want to go home and heal. I'm just going to stay on the tour. So I started filming. Then I started filming skate videos, and then I could film, like, I could jump the mega ramp, which is like the 70-foot jump with a camera. So I could do all this. Oh shit! Yeah, so I could do the jump with the camera,
Like first person POV videos.
So I was one of the first people to do that. Wow. There are other guys who could do it, but I would just do the crazy stuff.
You were doing GoPro stuff before the GoPro.
Yeah, with the big camera.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I would do that, and then I started making skate videos, and then and I had a roommate. at the time. He was a photographer and a director, and I was like, I want to make music videos. So I had a buddy who worked at 24 Hour Fitness, and they had some celebrity outreach program, and he got all the phone numbers to all these celebrities, like Bill Gates and all these people. So he gave me the phone numbers. So I called like 20 of them, and one of the people I called was Ghostface Killah.
Yeah. Now I heard this, and I want to make sure that this is correct. You called him and you said, I am one of the best up-and-coming music video directors.
I said,
something like that.
I said, I'm the best music video director in the world.
Yeah, man.
And
that's amazing.
And I
so
Shoot
good.
for the moon.
I left a message, and he called me back.
What?
Yeah, it was a different time, man. He called me back, and he was like, "You want to meet?" And he said, like basically, he just loved that I just had the balls to do that.
And how old were you then?
17 or 18.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think maybe 18, but close in there. Yeah. So I went and met them. I met him and all of his guys at the Mondrian. They were going into whatever the club is there. I forget the name of it. And Sky Bar. Is it
Yeah.
So I met them in the lobby. I got there early and met them in the lobby. I parked like a mile away because I had a shitty car.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And they were like, oh, come in with us. I was like, guys, I got to go. I got to be at a shoot. I only have 5 minutes. But I wasn't old enough to get in.
Oh, my God. That's brilliant.
It's a smart way around that.
Yeah. And then I ended up going on tour with him, and like we became, we had some really great conversations, hung out a bit, really nice guy. And I made a video for him, and then I made videos for other people. I worked with like Corrupt, and I met Suge Knight and all those guys.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
And I it's funny because I had pitched Suge Knight a video. I've never told anybody this, but I had an idea, and this was like, maybe 2002, 2003. So I was going to do a video, which it never happened because he went to jail, but I was going to do, they had a Tupac song that had never come out, and I wanted to do a whole video where it was Tupac, Jim Morrison, Marilyn Monroe, and all these people. And basically Tupac was performing in a small club for them.
So it's like him for like James Dean and
Exactly.
the 27 Club
So it was
people.
all the dead icons, and it was all around. And we were going to do the face, like digitally put
Face
the faces
mapping.
on
Oh, yeah.
the whole deal.
Yeah.
So I had like David Fincher's like guys, Digital Domain, I think that was the name. We had this whole big thing, and he was like, it's so funny because he had all this money. Like he would always carry his bricks of money, and I give him this whole spiel. I'm like, this is it, and this is why this will live forever. This would be a big video. And he just goes, how much is it going to cost? And I can't do his deep voice. Yeah. And I said, I don't know, a shitload of money. I was like, probably $200,000. Which is
probably lowballing.
It's lowball. I was lowballing the hell out of it, but to me at the time, it's a lot of money. Yeah. And he goes, that shit's iconic. Do it. And I was like, okay. And then literally 4 days later, he was in jail.
Did he give you the money to do it?
No, I didn't. By the time I didn't have enough. Like, I wasn't ready to go that day.
Yeah.
Like, I would have had to map it out.
Wow.
If he'd stayed clean for 2 more weeks, we could have seen the video probably.
Oh my God, that's so.
And instead, we just got a Fred Astaire sweeping with a broom commercial. That was the closest thing we got to it.
Yeah,
dude.
But I always thought that would have been a great video.
We interviewed these guys at this place called Hologram USA. Have you ever been to that? You ever been over there?
Yeah,
super weird,
insane.
Where they're just collecting dead people, basically.
Right.
Like they just go to different estates and go like, "Well, we want to own your hologram death rights, basically."
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
So I did that, and then I had a girlfriend at the time. And I had dropped her off at her dad's house, and I was driving somewhere. Like, I'd gone somewhere else, and I saw her in a car with a guy. And I was like, what the fuck? So I followed her. This is before, like, cell phones. She didn't have a cell phone, so I followed her.
You were playing Snake on your Nokia.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And she got out and went into the house with the guy. I walked up to the house, looked in the window. They were hooking up.
Holy shit.
So I drove home, took all of her shit, threw it out on the lawn. And my roommate at the time was a photographer, so I borrowed his camera, and I took a picture of the empty closet. And didn't think anything about it. And, a couple weeks later, my friend saw it and was like, this is an incredible picture. You should print this and put it up. So I did. And then my buddy was like, you should, this guy, Jason Worrell, said you need to put this on the internet. And I said, oh, okay. So at the time, MySpace was a thing.
Sure.
But nobody knew how to put a photo on their MySpace page. Yeah. So I wrote a code that you could easily copy and paste that.
Oh, interesting.
So then the only photo you could do it with was that one.
No way. Of the closet?
Yeah. So this is like, maybe there's like 400,000 people on MySpace at the time. Right. Something like 20% of them had that photo.
Holy shit.
Just because they wanted something.
So then I was like, well, I should take another photo. Yeah. So then I took another photo and did the same thing. And
wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's
nuts.
And then what's weird is like I ended up creating this algorithm because of that. And then I had an imaging code where like if you wanted your image to be number 1 on Google, I could do it in like 20 minutes. So then I sold that for some money.
Oh my God.
That sounds technology related to me. I don't know.
That does sound.
We're bringing it full circle.
Look at that. We brought it around.
Yep.
Oh my God, man. This has been like, how did you learn how to code like that? Was that just from?
I had a roommate who I can't name. He was one of the biggest hackers in the world.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was a very famous hacker, and I was just like, I didn't know anything about coding, but I don't know. I was just like, I think this would work, and so we did it, and it worked.
God, this is so amazing, man. I really I admire you, man, because the way it seems like the way that you have created your life and your career and what you do, like in like on a daily basis is. Just the way that it seems is like you are taking your brain and just kind of letting yourself kind of go. I'm just gonna do what I want, like try to create something that's interesting to me and that's interesting to other people.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourself.
Absolutely.
And by doing it for yourself, you're creating really interesting work.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. No. I mean, what's funny is when I came out here, I was very poor. When I was skating, I made money, and then my dad had a stroke. And so, I basically like all the money kind of went to that. And so when I came out, I had $137 and that was it. And so I was living on a couch, and all that stuff. And so my goal wasn't ever money, whereas a lot of people they want to have money and then it's like, oh, well, once you get the money, then it's like, well, now I have to pay taxes and I've got to pay for the car and I've got to pay for this and all these things. My goal was I just want to make whatever I can make.
Yeah.
And then when I did that, when I sold the imaging code, all of a sudden I went from having about $5,000 to $10,000 to a lot of money.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just like, all right, let's just shoot everything.
Awesome.
And so we just did that.
That's so amazing, man. And you've shot for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, now I know that you've been in Vanity Fair, you've been in all sorts of amazing places like that. And I know that your work is sold for enormous amounts of money. But how much of it is you being hired by a magazine to shoot stuff? How much is it you going, hey, Misha Barton, let's go shoot something together? Or hey, because I know you did a shoot with her.
Oh yeah,
I adore her. She's great.
So this is what's always funny to people is
or like Lohan, like the Lohan blood vampire stuff. Like
I don't know that I've ever been hired by a magazine.
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
So you're just putting the cart, we talk about cart before the horse a lot, and how that's Matt and me have had a lot of conversations about cart before the horse. Yeah. Because sometimes you have to fucking build multiple carts.
Totally.
And have multiple horses.
I think I've had a few times where I've shot something for a magazine, but I would say it would be about 98% of everything that I've shot is all for me.
Wow.
When we did Vanity Fair with Colton and them, and I've had other stuff in Vanity Fair, but when we did the thing with Colton, we did they came over, we did the shoot right here in the living room, and I said, oh, I think Vanity Fair would like this, and so we sent it to Vanity Fair, and then that was it.
What was the first photo that you did that got that kind of blew you up? Was there something that? After the MySpace stuff.
Yeah. So what's funny is in I want to say 2008, 2009. So Perez Hilton was really big, 07, 08. So he and I became friends, and I had photographed him, and during that time. You had Annie Leibovitz and all these people, they didn't have websites. Right. So they didn't want their stuff on these blogs. So people would actively try and have their stuff taken off the blogs if it was posted. You have to pay me or whatever. Well, I was like, oh, I'm rich from this thing, so use anything you want.
Right. Oh my God.
Just use it. And
it's free advertising for you, yeah.
And then what happened is I found this niche where you had Just Jared and Perez and E and AOL, had this huge website called Pop Eater, and there was this stuff. And I remember I shot Hayden Panettiere, Zachary Quinto, Matt Dallas, some of these people. And that stuff, the Zachary Quinto stuff, it had 30 million views in one day.
Jesus Christ.
Because back then there were only 4 or 5 sites to go to, and
I remember those photos too, the black and white photos.
Yeah.
And it was right around the time that he was
Heroes, Star Trek,
Spock, and all that. Yeah.
So what happened was back then, if you wanted to do a shoot with an actor, you generally had to do it for a magazine. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you did it for the magazine, you had to have a stylist, and they were selling clothes, and it was it has to be this. And I did the opposite of that.
It's an ad.
That's right.
Is what it's like an advertorial kind of thing.
So I would just say, why don't you come over at midnight and we'll go shooting downtown and do whatever. And we'll release it in 2 days as opposed to 6 months from now, which was the magazine cycle. So for them, they're like, what? And then it would get more press because I would let it go everywhere.
Wow.
As opposed to
because
holding
anyone
it.
could run it then.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, everybody run it. And then, the Daily Mail came up, these other sites started to come up, and it just was like, it just literally was like, and it just kept going and going. And then I met Lohan, and, Lohan summoned me at the chateau.
Oh my God.
Which is, look, it was a different time back then. You used to go and like everyone would be, there was 4 places that everyone went. Everyone would be there. You'd have DiCaprio over here and then this person's over here and da-da-da, So this girl that I knew came over and said, Lindsay would like to see you.
And she was a huge star at this point.
The biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you equated it now, she'd have 500 million Instagram followers.
Yeah.
At the how big she was then.
Yeah. So this is Mean Girls time or before Mean Girls?
This would be 2010.
Yeah.
So this is like post Mean Girls.
Post Mean Girls, but before
She just hosted the MTV Awards, and
this is prior to.
There's 200 paparazzi outside just for her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I go over to her table and
this is Herbie fully loaded. That's what's happening.
So I go over to her table and she says, "I thought you were older," and I was like, "No," and she goes, "You're Tyler Shields," and I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Oh shit." And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said, all right, well, we're going to make something. And I said, okay, how far do you want to go? And she said, as far as you can go. And I was like, okay, she gets it. Like, people have their opinions of her. She is very savvy.
Yeah.
And she texts me. I never gave her my number. That was the end of the conversation. I went away. I just walked away after that. She got my number because she's like an NSA spy. Yeah. Anything she wants, she gets.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I get a text and says, it's LL. And I was like, okay. And she said, what day are you free?
Wait, now, real quick question.
When you showed up, was it LL Cool J?
That's what I was going to say. Was there any part of your brain that went, LL Cool J? Is that possible? Or did you immediately think?
I immediately thought it was her, but I mean, if LL Cool J showed up, I wouldn't have
Fuck
been
yeah,
mad.
you would have been
Like,
mad. Right.
Yeah.
That's not a bad situation.
Just run with it.
So she showed up, and, she had a bunch of people with her, and they all came in, and everyone had their little job that they were doing, and
at your home, or
this is at my house? Yeah, this is an old house of mine, and I just let them all do what they were doing, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm ready to shoot," and I said, "Okay, cool. Tell all these people to get the fuck out." And she was like, "What?" And I said, "Oh yeah, no, they gotta go." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so we go to take the first picture, and she's like doing the normal kind of magazine thing. And she just looked at me and she's like, why aren't you taking any pictures? And I said, I'm the boss. And she looked at me like, I'm going to kill you. Uh-huh. And we just stared at each other for about 30 seconds. And she said, I like you. And I said, I'm still the boss. And she said, okay. And that moment there, it became like a real crazy like collaboration, and we pushed it real far. And it was not that I was the boss in the sense of like you have to do what I say, but
right.
This thing that you're used to doing isn't what I do, so don't make me do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're here, let me do my thing.
Yeah.
And she
otherwise, what's the point of having me?
And she got that, and then she was like, "Oh!" And then what she did with other people was completely different, and what we did together was, a whole different thing.
Now, was that the photo shoot
with the blood?
With the blood,
Yeah.
Now, was that because I know that part of the series, that there was part of that series that you did was where you had, this is something I read, so correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
you collected up blood from a bunch of different people.
Yeah, we had 30. I had a blood donation party at my house. So I made a 6-foot painting with 30 people's blood.
Holy
So
shit.
I got everyone from like Emma Roberts to Brent Bolthouse. Like there's a wild group of people.
Oh my God.
Now, is that sort of semi-inspired by the Kiss comic book where they put their blood in the comic book?
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But
Famous thing, like
that sounds amazing.
they went to like Marvel put it out or somebody,
Yep.
and like they went to like the plant and they like each got blood and it got mixed in with the pigment that actually wound up in the comic book.
Wow. Well, it's funny because at the time I was like, I need a doctor who will do this, and it was hard to find.
Yeah.
So everyone
I would
kept
think
saying,
so.
Everyone kept saying no, and then I it's so weird. I was working on a project with Ryan Kavanaugh.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
At the time.
From Relativity.
From Relativity.
Oh, yeah. At the time, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Man, I'm trying to find a doctor." And he said, "Oh, I'll send you the Rock Doctor." And I'm like, "Excuse me?"
What?
And this fucking doctor who like basically, let's say like you're Axl Rose and you're made, appendix bursts and like, you don't want her to get deported. Like this guy will come over and like fix it on the pool table. Like he's like that guy.
No way.
Yeah, that's a made up story. That didn't happen. Definitely didn't happen. Just an example. I have no knowledge of. Axel has nothing to do with this. No, so
It's like a mob doctor.
Yeah. Well, just house calls or
Sure.
Whatever. Which that opened up a whole new world to me. Which is like there was a period where like I just was like I'd have a dentist come over and do it at my house.
Holy
It's
shit.
like whatever. Like they'll just come to you. Like fuck it. They'll do anything you want as out there. But this doctor came over and did the whole thing, and then they gave me all the blood vials and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I said, "How much do I owe you?" And he said, "Oh no, Ryan took care of it."
What?
And I was like, "That is a gift.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is a
Come get
gift."
blood?
He's
Yeah.
like, "It's on Ryan." I was like, "Oh, Ryan,
Wow.
what a guy!"
That guy's a beast.
Right?
Didn't he have a warehouse that was like, or an airplane hangar?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. He flew a helicopter to work every day.
Oh my God. He's the coolest
From
fucking
Malibu
person.
to Beverly Hills.
Why is he so cool?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I know. I had a meeting at Relativity a couple of years ago, and they were like, "Oh, we got to take you over to the airplane hangar."
yeah.
And then Relativity started having some troubles.
That's
and it was
right.
like, well, I guess I'm not going to be going
That's
over
right.
there.
So funny.
But that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a badass.
But then the Lohan thing,
So the Lohan thing kind of blew up.
that went to a whole nother level. Whereas like somebody, and again, I can't speak to these exact metrics, but there was a guy who I think he did like Hollywood TV or something like that at the time, which was like a big site.
Sure.
And he told me that they tracked it, and it was like 750 million views in the week.
Damn.
So it was one of the most seen kind of things, and it was worldwide. It was everywhere.
And how did you feel that impact? Because did you feel that impact financially as well? Like, were you able to? Did you sell prints of it?
Well, this is what's funny. So people think, and this is just an often misconception. People think that you make a lot of money from those photos.
Sure.
And you don't. You don't really make any money from those photos. Once people just steal it, it's like it's gone.
theirs. Yeah.
And they just take it. Now you can track them down and sue them, and whatever. Which I know some people like to do that, whatever. But my whole thing with Lindsay at the time too was like, we want it out, so let's let it go out.
It just makes you so needed.
Well, so what happened is right when we did that, I had a gallery the next day after it came out. And you talk about a turnout. I mean, we had a line around the block. I became, and again, obviously I'm talking about myself.
No.
Yeah.
But I became a name in photography to most people overnight.
Wow.
And then what I followed it up with wasn't like another celebrity shoot. It was like a fine art gallery the next day. The timing couldn't have been
Perfect. It was perfect.
better.
Yeah.
And so I sold prints at that gallery, and we originally had it in a small space, smallish.
Where was it?
It was in downtown.
Okay.
So we were expecting, 200, 300 people, which is a lot of people. And
For
then
March,
there were 900 people in line an hour before it opened.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And it was, every news outlet was there. And I shot a guy with a gun. We did a stunt. He had a bulletproof vest on. So that was crazy.
What?
Yeah. And then that got out. He was a Marine.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you couldn't do that now.
No way.
Yeah.
Where did you hit on his body? Like what area? Oh, right over
Shoulder.
the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
I killed a
pretty-
man once just to see him die.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a pretty good shot. So,
I would hope so.
yeah. But, we did that. And then what happened?
Wait, did you shoot him with an actual bullet?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Just
Where have you
what?
been, Steven?
I thought you meant like with a blank.
No.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, you shot a man with a gun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All
He
right.
shot a man with a gun, Stephen.
The statute of limitations is up on that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, we did that and then that got out and that was crazy.
I just repeated that for our slower listeners.
Yeah. When I say it out loud, it sounds so bad
It
now.
sounds like because when you first said it, I was like, oh, it's a stunt. Like he had like a
Yeah.
a blank gun.
No,
and then
he-
he shot.
you shot a Marine
You shot a
in the
Marine
chest
with
with a
a
gun.
bullet.
That's right. Well, I wanted him to do it. I wanted him to do it to me, and he said no. And he's like, I'm the Marine. I'm the one that's getting shot. And I was like,
At first, I thought he was saying it out of just like normal human respect for
Yeah.
life, but he's like, "No, I'm the Marine.
Yeah.
I'm the one who gets shot."
yeah.
here."
No, he's a badass.
That is awesome.
Now I know you did. There's a photo. Like I feel like once the Lohan photo happened, and you, there are a couple of big photos
Yeah.
in your history that have gotten you in the name of being a provocateur because there's the Heather Morris
Yep.
photo,
Yep.
which is her with a black eye. That's a real black eye or fake black eye?
That was a fake black guy.
a fake black eye.
Yeah.
Fake black eye.
Black eye.
Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
she had a fake black eye.
But that,
There was also a fake black guy as well. No, there's
to
a
clarify.
just a fake
He
black
shot a man
eye.
with a gun and fake black eye.
Yes. So those we have problems. So those photos went viral, and that was during her being on Glee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
Now-
that's a big deal.
Now what happens is, and you don't know this until it happens to you, but when you do the first one, the next one gets bigger. Because all the people that wrote about the first one want to write about the next one, and then it just gets bigger.
And then they're following you at that
and
point.
then by this time, there's now 100 times more websites.
oh yeah.
You had the 10 before. Now you've got 1,000.
Right.
So now everybody's in on the blogging game, and and just that one just went to a whole nother level. I got death threats, and oh my god,
Something like I read somewhere like 1,200 death threats a day, or
12,000
12,000 death threats a day.
a day.
Holy mother of God!
This is from Glee fans.
Yeah. No. This is
from the people of the world.
The people who were upset about that were people who had been abused or something like that, because they're saying that the black eye.
No. When you do something like that,
Yeah.
was that your idea to do? That's your idea to do something like that, or was it her idea?
She had said to me that she wanted to do a Barbie, something Barbie related, and she said with a twist. And I said, well, what if you gave Barbie a black eye, or what if you did something like that, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Now for me, look, I grew up in the South where girls did the same stuff that guys did. When I skated, there were girls that skated, and like we'd all fall on our faces. Like
Sure.
you play baseball, like whatever. So my intention with it wasn't like, oh yeah, like this is a domestic black eye. It's like, yeah, this is just a girl with a black eye who's very pretty. But again, this is the moment I realized that it doesn't matter what you think when you make it. And in fact, the less you say to people, the better it is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I say that, well, if I release the photo and say, this is just, she got a black eye doing baseball, then you don't get to see what people think, and what people think is way crazier than what you ever think.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
So you got to just shut up and let it go and let them interpret it. And you have to let the people hate it that want to hate it. And you have to let the people love it that want to love it. And you just have to take it.
Wow.
And that's it.
Yeah, I get that.
Weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is that like people that were like victims of domestic abuse are mad at you about it, and it's like you're probably bringing that issue to more people's attention than anything else could have at that particular time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because a provocateur like gets conversation started.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're shit starters. You know, they like push buttons and then let people handle that the way that they handle that.
Right. It's not comfortable.
Right. They push people out of their
It's not
comfort
comfortable
zones,
to see her with a black eye like that for people. And look, here's the thing. Like, there was no part of me that was like, oh yeah, let's make fun of domestic violence or anything like that.
Right.
That's why people would think that. I don't know, but they did, and they come at you. And people ask me all the time, they're like, what's the hardest part about doing what you do? And it's like taking the photos is easy. Being friends with famous people is easy. Like, it's none of it's difficult. Like you have ideas, you make the ideas, it's fun. The difficult thing is, can you handle it when essentially the world is bearing down on you? Right. Can you handle it if you've upset the president? Can you handle it if people are threatening to kill you? Can you handle all of those things? And most people I know can't. They would buckle under the pressure.
That's my dream.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that we like about our podcast, and this is we've got a weird situation between the three of us. Matt, our producer and head writer, is an asshole.
Yes.
And a real shit starter. Says a lot of horrible things to people.
Real-
pretty right. You're not. But we're all best friends. The three of us, right? Mike is a very, very funny stand-up comedian as well, but is also very considerate and takes people's
feelings.
Takes people's feelings to heart. Would you say that? Yes.
Except yours.
Right,
Yes.
of course, except for me.
And you said we were friends. I'd say more acquaintance.
You're such a bastard. And then I'm kind of in between the two of them a little bit, where I like things that are kind of fucked up and
you guys are
pushy.
kind of like a redheaded Oreo.
A little bit. It's hilarious and true.
Just not very very well stuffed. It's very skinny Oreo with big fat cookies.
Because no one can see this right now, but you're both on either side of him.
Yeah.
And you both have black shirts on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's the very tiny red stuffing in the middle.
What it looks like is
You're like a strawberry Oreo.
If the God of War were twins and got really fat,
Yeah.
and Louis C.K. got younger and really thin, and they smushed him in the middle.
That's what
we
it
look
is. That's what this looks like. But we've had a couple episodes of our show where someone has said something really fucked up on the show, and then the three of us argue about, do we keep it in or do we cut it out?
Right.
And 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, we keep it in. We let it ride. Yeah. Unless they call us and say, please remove that or we're not going to be happy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't think Tom Sizemore owns a phone. So
Tom Sizemore, when he did the show, said that he was trying to fuck Lindsay Lohan, but she was too high on coke to fuck at the
that was
that
30
night.
seconds into the show. Like
30
you just
seconds
opened
in.
up.
Yeah.
That's how he opened
That's how
the
he
show.
opened the show. And then an hour in, he talked about a female castmate that he wanted to. That every time he had sex with her, all he wanted to do was slit her throat because her voice was so annoying after sex. And it was like, we were like, oh my God, do we cut this or do we leave it? Do we have to leave it?
Yeah.
And then we left it, and then literally the next day, Vulture picked it up and like ran stories about both of them.
You have a duty to leave that in.
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I always say.
That's we've had that a few times.
I honestly don't think Tom Sizemore even knows that this happened.
No, I don't think he remembers.
I'm pretty sure he
I don't
was.
think he
Those
recalls
guys were
being there.
recording me?
Yeah,
showed
he's
up,
like, how did I
blurted
get
out
into this
some crazy
Chinese
shit.
restaurant?
I think he's kind of like the Kool-Aid man. Someone says, "Oh no," and he busts through the wall and starts babbling crazy shit and then runs off.
Oh dear God! Now, we have to talk about this because this is the thing that slapped the entire world across the face. Like the entire planet. You had an entire planet acknowledging you and a photograph that you took, which is crazy to think a whole planet was like talking about your work.
I have to say that I didn't think that it was still possible because of how Instagram and everything is now, and how like now news only lasts for a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it could still happen.
That it could happen.
We're of course talking about the Kathy Griffin photo.
Yeah, the Kathy Griffin
With the Trump
photo
head.
of her holding Donald Trump's severed head.
Yeah.
Okay, so you set this up for us.
Okay.
How does this come together? How do you meet Kathy? How does this come together?
Kathy and I met at A.J. McLean's wedding. I was the minister of the wedding. I officiated the wedding. And a friend of mine, Connor Paolo, who's an actor, he objected at the wedding, per my request.
No way. Really?
Yeah. So he came in and objected. And don't worry about that. And when he objected, there we go. When he objected, I chased him down the aisle, and basically, what it sounded like, I beat him up. No, and then as I walked back down, I said, there will be no more objections at my wedding. And I looked over and I said, you keep your mouth shut, Kathy Griffin. Right? Now, I never met her before, but I just thought it'd be funny.
That's a funny joke.
So at the after party, she came up to me and was like, well, you should have told me. I'd have been in on it. That was genius. Like, I loved it, whatever. And so she said, we should shoot sometime. So we scheduled a shoot. I showed up at her house, and it was like something out of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They were like, Kathy's waiting for you in the back. And she was naked in the pool, and she like swims over and comes up the stairs, and it's just like a robe appears, like a guy with a robe appears from somewhere and like puts the robe on her, and she's like, hi. And I was like, this is awesome. Like she's all about it. So I shot her naked. We did a whole thing. It was really fun. Put the photos out. And then, maybe, I don't know, it was a year or two later, I had a gallery. She came to the gallery and she was like, I think it's time for us to cause some trouble again. And I said, all right, cool. And so we went over and I shot her in this like latex, like one piece, like a whole thing. And then at the end of the shoot, she was like, I feel like we should do something, political or something controversial. And I said, okay. And here's the thing. I don't follow politics. Like I'm not a political guy. Like I just all I do is make art, I take pictures.
Yeah.
So that's where I spend my time. So I said, well, okay, what do you want to do? And she said, I don't know, we do something with this, something with that. And then she said, what do we do something on Trump? And I said, do you have like a blue pinstripe suit? And she's like, no. And then I said, okay, well, what do we have? What do we have available to us right now? And what we had available to us was like a wig head and a Trump mask and a she has red hair. So we had red hair. Mm-hmm. And so we made this thing. And,
like the red, white, and blue.
Yeah. And I said, oh, this looks like shit. This looks horrible. And I was like, the only thing we could do to save this is if we covered it in blood. Because it just looked so bad.
Yeah.
And so I punched it and like shaped the face into it because it wasn't a face. We covered it in blood. And this is what's really funny is people look at that photo and they think like, this was a huge planned, crazy stage thing. So I had 3 frames of film left. So I'd shot all day. So I had 3 frames left on the camera. And I said, I'll just finish this roll of film. And that's it.
Man.
And it was the first picture that I took.
Whoa.
So there, yeah, and that was it. What's funny is the most famous photograph of the year, it's some people would say, was shot on film.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So
That has to be really rare these days.
Yeah.
yeah, so that photo comes out and you drop the photo, or does she drop the photo?
So what happened is this, and I don't think I've told anybody this, but I had set up for the photo to release an exclusive with a website. And, my thing with Kathy was, do you want this small or do you want it big? Because, you can say, oh, we're giving it just to this and no one else or whatever.
Right.
She said, put it everywhere you possibly can. And I said, okay, cool. Because that, again, like I can kind of sometimes control stuff. Like, all right, this is an exclusive only for this person. And then, you send a letter, you can't use whatever. But I took the gloves off. So I gave it to this website, and they had the exclusive on it, and they were going to post it at 8 a.m. And so I set it on my site to post at 8:15. And the woman who was supposed to post it, her phone broke. And she got on an airplane for 11 hours and never posted it.
Oh, wow.
So it went live on my site. And when it went live on my site, TMZ picked it up.
Yeah.
And people think, I don't know if Kathy thinks this, but, people think that I gave it to them first. I'd given it to somebody else. I'd given it to, and I'm not going to name them because that person will get fired.
Sure.
Or they
fumble.
Yeah.
I don't know the amount of money that person lost them, but it was if I don't know if they found out that person had it first, I'm sure that they would be fired. But so TMZ picked it up, and then they kind of got the ownership. Everyone then just picked it up from them, and it just went out, and the first kind of 5 hours, I'd gotten calls and I was doing, a little interview here or there, whatever. And then it just turned. And when it turned, it was like a train at that point. And then there was no stopping it.
Yeah.
And once it took off, then it was just like, okay, now no one can control this. Like, it's still posted today. Like it was on the news yesterday. Somebody sent me a picture of it. And, it's funny because I think that, and this is what's interesting, I think people think that I made millions of dollars from that photo.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money I made from that
nothing.
photo? Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$0. Well, it actually cost me money because I had to pay for the film.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, zero. And again, it's not that wasn't my goal was to let me license this photo to everybody, but like, I've seen it. It's been everywhere.
But to think that like every single day people take billions of photographs.
More photos are taken each month than all of history before.
Oh my God.
Man.
Just to think that like one frame that you took one photograph and that a photograph could have that kind of impact it's mind-boggling, dude. Like we've sat down with Oscar winners and Tony winners and Grammy winners and across the board, like people who have built their entire career and done all sorts of crazy shit to their lives, but nobody that's ever done something that everyone does. Like everyone takes pictures.
Yes.
But your photos continue to like blast through the fucking entire planet. Like it's the craziest shit. It's It's amazing.
Thank you.
But what do you think the reason is that happens? Is it because is it the composition and the way that you shoot things? Or is it everything all combined? Social media and the reach and the fan base?
It's all of it combined. So it's weird because there was a point where like I figured out how to do that, and I could do it like just over and over again.
Wow!
Like I literally figured it out, and then I stopped myself. Literally, it was like. There was a year where I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I need to stop. And I said, I want to see what would happen if I tried to do that mentality with something completely different. That was when I did the KKK photo. Have you ever seen that one? The man hanging the KKK member?
Yeah.
And that was one of my best-selling fine art prints. And when I did that, I had friends that were like, this photograph is going to ruin your career. Do not release it. Cut to like, you know, right now, like the first guy that bought it, it's hanging next to like a $2 million Richard Avedon. It's in another room in Texas with a $40 million Warhol. And people are like, this is the, you know. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I can do that now. Like I understand that formula. But I didn't think that it could surpass the old days, because in the old days there were so many less photographs. There were so many less of everything, and for this, like, this hit a whole different level. And when the president tweeted about it, I thought it was big, and then that's when it became like a level that I'd never seen. Because again, and you know, look, I told Kathy day one, I said to her, I was sitting right there where you are. I was on the phone with her, and she said, this is bad. They're coming at me. And I said, the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
I said, I said, and I remember this so specifically. I said, I promise you, no matter what happens, this is before CNN and all that. I said, no matter what happens, when you come back, and it'll probably take 10 months to a year, but when you come back, you will do the Dixie Chicks thing. Whatever you do next will be bigger than anything you ever did before. Yeah. And now she sold out Carnegie Hall, and you know she's done. You know,
she did the funny thing where she apologized and then she unapologized, which was
that's
very
tricky.
rare.
That's a tricky.
To apologize and take it back. That's rare.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Here's the thing. I know that people have their opinion on that, and you know, I'm always of the mindset of fuck it, don't apologize. Yeah. You know, it is what it is. But here's the deal. None of us in this room or listening to this, maybe there's two people listening to this.
That's the correct number. Two people
have caused. Two people have caused that type of a shitstorm. Yeah. Right. And so my thing is, when there's shit hitting you in the face.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who's to say how you should react? Right. And that's the thing. Like, she reacted the way she reacted, but I am just like, I'm not a normal person when it comes to this shit. Like, I realized it with this because it just didn't fucking faze me. Yeah. And I think people think that I got out like, oh, nothing happened to me. I couldn't leave the house for 2 weeks. There were random dudes walking my block. Mm-hmm. There was a guy outside with a gun. The FBI was here. The Secret Service was here. I had the deputy director of the Secret Service. There were camera cars. I had my neighbor giving me food. I'm pretty sure that a Postmates guy tried to poison me. Wow. For real. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, like it was like I ordered food because I couldn't leave. And it was like, you know, really late at night, and he delivered it to me, and he just like didn't leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I opened the food had been opened.
Oh no.
And there was a steak, and it had been cut into.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can't eat this.
This show is sponsored by Uber Eats.
Yeah. Uber Eats.
We won't poison you.
Yes. And again, maybe that was just me in a heightened state of paranoia.
Yeah,
but I've never. That was genius. But I've never had the food was tampered with. My name was on the thing, and so you know it was a lot. But you know, look, at the end of the day, like. I mean, look, I'm not her. I'm not a woman. I don't know, you know, what the fear of that is.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
and when you go through something like that, you have no idea. Like, people have no idea what that would be.
Everyone can judge you,
right? Of course.
Until it happens to them, and then they're like, "Why are they attacking me?" You know,
it's easy to talk a big game until everyone on the planet is mad at you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know, look, you're not just dealing with. Press at this point. You're dealing with the White House. I mean, you know, you're dealing with some serious shit.
People like saying, hey, is this even legal to do? We're going to threaten legal action. And,
to which, you know, for me, it's like, all right, it is what it is.
Wow.
We go with it.
Yeah.
And look, I was held up in the house for weeks.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And look, I didn't want to make a sensation out of it. I could have gone out there and done talk shows, and I got offered to go on everything.
Yeah.
And I just said, no, it's the photos. The photo speaks for itself.
Yeah. That's never been your thing, like to go out and give a lot of interviews and stuff, right?
No.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I had a guy at the time who was buying a piece of mine, not the cat. There's a different piece, and he's a huge Republican, famous Republican guy. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe his daughter's a fan of mine, or something. Maybe he's just, I don't know. Yeah. But they called me and they were like, yeah, he's not buying the piece anymore when it all happened. And I was like, we'll see. And it was exactly a month later they called me back and said he's buying 6 now.
Whoa.
Because in that month, look at all that happened, and the consciousness kind of changed and everything, and that photo became whatever it became.
Yeah.
And you could literally make a movie about that month or this year of events on Kathy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that would be a really good documentary to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be fascinating, too.
You still shoot primarily on film?
Yeah.
Like solely on film, or do you do stuff digital too? Or?
I do some digital stuff. It's just less and less.
Are you worried that you're going to have a hard time finding film to shoot on anymore?
Well, I'm doing a Polaroid series right now, and they stopped making the Polaroid film that I use. They detonated. They blew up the factory.
Yeah.
And the chemicals don't exist, so they don't make that anymore.
Oh,
and
God.
So
there's scorched earth on it.
So what I have, and I bought up a lot of them. I bought up almost all the remaining stock. So what I have is it, and they'll expire in 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I have that, but there's another thing that I'm doing, which I am doing a dye transfer print. Which dye transfer, they stopped making the chemicals in, I think, 91. Dye transfer is the rarest, hardest photographic print to make. It's a color print. There's one guy in America who can do it, and one person in Europe who can do it, and that's it. And the guy who I found, he's retired, but he printed for Irving Penn and all these people. And so right now I'm doing a series where I'm only going to print 3 of them for this image ever. And they're 100,000 each.
Oh my God.
And that's it. It's the craziest looking photograph I've ever seen in my life.
What makes it so different?
So when you you see this big camera?
When
you shoot something on that.
That looks like, just the people listening, it's like if you picture people taking photos in the 1800s, it looks like one of those
where
cameras.
the guy has to hide under a curtain.
That's what you have to do with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's an 8x10 big camera. When you shoot on that, when you see the photograph, it's like you're there. Yeah. A digital photo can be great, but you're looking at a photo. 8x10, you're there. The dye transfer print is better than what you see.
Oh, wow.
It's color that I have a test one I could show you guys after.
That would be great.
It's color like you've never seen color. It's what you would imagine color should be in a print. It's real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's all handmade. It takes about 3 weeks to make each print. They're all
Jeez.
they have to make a film strip of each. They do each custom layer. It's like a whole crazy thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. That's going to come out soon. And there'll only be 3 of those ever.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's so
and
neat.
What's crazy about it is the guy is, and I talk to him all the time, but he's in his 60s. He only has enough chemicals to make me a certain amount, and that's it. And once he's dead or once the chemicals are out, that's it forever.
Oh God.
But to put it in perspective for you, Irving Penn has a dye transfer series that he did, which was an edition of 27. And the last one just sold for $500,000.
Oh my God.
And so these are only 3. So hopefully one day these go for
much more.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist? Who do you look up to?
I love Helmut Newton, Richard Avedon, Irving Penn, Warhol, Basquiat. I like the guys who did the stuff that they weren't really supposed to do. They kind of just did their own. Like Richard Avedon. And, again, I didn't know anything about any of these guys. Like, I didn't know anything about Avedon until I was in an auction. Like, I was in the window at Sotheby's. It was me and Richard Avedon,
Wow.
And like, obviously it's like, they like literally in London, like the main Sotheby's auction house, it's me and him in the window, which is crazy.
That's bananas.
And I'm the youngest guy, by years. I'm the youngest person in those, which is an honor.
How old are you now?
36.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I see that, and then when I was in the first auction, I started looking up, really researching these guys, because I'm like, how the fuck, this photo is $1 million? Like, what? This is like an edition of 20. How is it $1 million photo? Whatever.
Yeah.
So as I started researching them, I was like, okay, I get it. I get why these guys are special. I get what it is they did and how they did it at the time. You look at Robert Mapplethorpe, what he, if he tried to do what he did then, now nobody would care. Yeah. Everyone's desensitized now. It's like, whatever.
They'd still care about Piss Christ and some of those other things.
Sure. But back then it was a lot.
It was huge. I remember that was...
Back then everyone wasn't doing
like,
it.
I remember he had that exhibit, I think, in Cincinnati that got shut down.
Oh, yeah.
That was the famous one, and I was in, like, elementary school, and it was every night on the news. That was the lead story for, like, a month.
Yep.
I remember
It was
that,
about, like, the court case over it.
Yeah, they tried to put the curator in jail.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Which is funny because I do a gallery in Cincinnati. And, the stuff that they buy at the gallery in Cincinnati is always the most provocative shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about other artists like Banksy or Mr. Brain or Brainwash or some of these other guys? Like, how do you feel about those guys?
Oh, I mean, I think what Banksy's done is absolutely genius. Brainwash I've never really looked into. I don't.
It's really a bizarre thing. I was in Malibu at this gallery, and it's all Brainwash. The entire gallery is his stuff.
Right next to the ice cream store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know this place?
Yeah.
And so I'm walking around this gallery, and it's stuff like. I don't have photos in front of me and names in front of me, but he has these giant pieces that are like the size of walls and stuff, right? And it's like Marilyn Monroe made up of Diet Coke cans or things like this, right? And it's selling for like $300,000, right? And I was like, every single thing in there was his, and it was a lot of it was stuff that was it looked like Banksy stuff, but that had been kind of ripped off to be his stuff, which is kind of his whole thing, right? Yeah. I walk down the hallway at this place, and there's another gallery in that same shopping center, and they have a giant coffin that was done by this very famous Hispanic artist, and it's an eagle. It's like a giant eagle coffin.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And that was selling for like $7,000, like $8,000, something like this. And then they also had made out of old used tires, a samurai. Like a giant samurai, like life-size samurai.
Yeah.
And that was selling for like $15,000. And I said to the guy, I go, like right there, like I can point to the place. Yeah. They have these, like a painting of Mickey Mouse that
10 times
that
more money.
Was spray painted, and it's $150,000.
Yeah.
And the guy in this gallery almost passed out. Like he was like he'd never been over there and never really looked at the stuff, and I was like, dude, like you could raise these prices so much, but just the value of how much is put on art.
Wait, can we just talk about the guy in that gallery? Because he's like, my life changed when this guy walked in.
I just blew his mind through the roof. But he couldn't, I was like pulling out photos going, look, it's a spray paint of Oscar the Grouch on a stop sign, and it's $200,000, man. Like you have a fucking astronaut made out of computer keys.
You're selling vibranium over here.
Yeah, like what are you doing, man? You should raise your prices. But it kind of blew my mind that like how art is valued so differently.
Well, it's a lot.
Can be so different.
It's wild because a lot of it's the name, you know, and you know, look, Brainwash has a name. Whether people like what he does or not, or whether somebody's going to buy, you know, a Coke can Marilyn Monroe, I don't know.
Sure.
But you know, that's the thing is, it's like I have, you know, my collectors now, which are like, look, you know, I'm fortunate enough to see where Avedon and Irving Penn and Mapplethorpe and all these guys did it the way that they did it, and I can learn from those lessons. Like, I only do editions of 3 in my photos.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
So whereas like the value of those guys' work now is a lot of money, but we're talking 30, 40, 50 years later.
Right.
And their editions of 30, 60, 20, 10, whatever, mine are way less. So the goal is for me to have the value way higher.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I would, you know, eventually I would like to have it where I have the highest selling photo of all time.
Amazing.
You know,
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
And then
I have no doubt.
You still own the rights to the image on it, and then will there ever be like mass market like posters that college kids have up in their dorms?
Yeah,
is that kind
you
of
know,
stuff?
I've talked about doing some of the poster stuff, and at some point I'd like to do like maybe a poster or a couple posters. Eventually, yeah. But I like the idea of it being the focus is the fine art and the big prints and all that, and then yeah, you know, there's that like champagne image that I have of the people kissing.
Yes.
Like I think that would be a great poster.
Yeah, it's funny because like you see like when I was in college, I must have seen 20 different people in the dorm who had the famous melting clocks Salvador Dali painting as a poster, right? Yes. And there's like this giant poster on the wall, and then I go to New York and I see the actual painting, and it's like an 8x10. Like it's tiny, and I was like, this is way bigger in my friend's room. You know, I was like,
this one's not
funny
worth
how that
half
works.
as much as the one in my friend's room.
I was like, the detail over there on the poster is way better than the original.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Warhols.
Yeah.
You know, the Warhols are not that big, but you know, you could get a poster that's giant.
The Pollocks are huge, though.
The Pollocks are
made those
massive.
things big.
Yeah,
They're
he went.
massive.
That guy went big. But yeah, the art world is fascinating when you get into those auctions, and you know, you see like the last Sotheby's one. I don't know. I mean, there was 150 photos, and like, you know, it's like, all right, Avedon, Helmut Newton, and then it's like me, and then it's like, you know, Irving Penn, and and you're
Ansel
just like,
Adams,
and you know, there's sell obviously for some of them sell for high prices, but like, there was a Helmut Newton that mine sold for more than his, which, you know, not that I'm comparing myself to him, but you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
This is a miracle.
There was a big thing. I don't know whatever happened with the legal case, but they found a bunch of old Ansel Adams photos.
Yeah.
And then there was like a whole legal case over like who owned the rights to those, and like the guy who found them was trying to sell them, and then the family was trying to say we own the rights to the photos.
Yeah.
Do you ever anticipate that kind of stuff? Like, do you have a bunch of work in a shoebox somewhere that years from now people are going to find? Or?
So I'm going to do a foundation. So I'll do like I'm going to try and do like the Howard Hughes move, like the Tyler Shields Medical Foundation or something, you know, something like that. Because Mapplethorpe's estate now is valued at like $400 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
You know?
You should do a scavenger hunt.
Right?
Like bury a box of art somewhere.
Yes. Good luck.
That would be
Breaking
awesome.
Bad style. Just put it in like the drum out in the...
Yeah, put it somewhere, and then
Yeah.
in every photo you have like a secret little clue with the photo.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
That'd be a good
Now,
series.
before we wrap up, last little thing here. You have the book that came out. You have a book that came out last year, Provocateur, and then you have the YouTube show.
Yep.
Now, is the YouTube is it a documentary or a TV show?
YouTube Red mini documentary. So it's about a 30-minute documentary, and you know, you kind of see some of like the making of the KKK photo, and then we do a reverse race riot. So we have like a cop car on fire, and the cops are black and the rioters are white. And so you see like the whole flip of that, which is pretty crazy to see. Unreal. It's pretty surreal. And there's a guy in it who gets beat with a nightstick for real.
Whoa.
It's the craziest.
How much do you have to pay that guy?
I paid him nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That guy needs a better agent. That's what he
yeah.
needs.
he's a pretty big actor.
Whoa.
Yeah, Ido Goldberg. He was on Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. Fantastic actor. But he had bruises.
Oh man,
all over him. Let me see if I.
He's pulling out the phone to show us.
I almost want to just see if I can find it real fast so you can just get the reaction of you guys listening to it or watching it.
Oh my god!
Because he gets beat like
That sounds
it's bad.
That sounds like that could be.
because that sounds like they're like, okay, we're here at the thing, and I'll be like, not it. I'll be one of the other guys.
No, he volunteered. Here we go. I found it.
Okay.
He volunteered.
Oh,
my god!
what? That's
Holy
crazy.
shit!
they're like going right for his stomach too. You know.
Yeah.
Oh man! Wow. You got some dedicated people. Look, if you ever need someone to get hit in the face with a pie, let me know.
I need him to go everywhere with me to introduce me.
Absolutely.
If you ever need photos of like a fat guy under a pile of beautiful models,
yes,
I'm willing to do that.
You'll do it?
Yeah, he'll do that. He'll
Will
do
you
that
waive
for you.
your fee?
I will waive my fee.
Okay, good.
I'm normally paid in toaster strudels, but I will let that go.
What about Krispy Kreme?
Yeah, I'll let it go.
What if I had a girl going through the Krispy Kreme machine and you were just standing there?
Yeah,
You would do
or
that?
like a pile of glazed girls.
Okay.
That would be fine too.
Yeah, he could be the employee at Krispy Kreme, or he
Totally.
could be eating the girl made of Krispy Kreme.
There you go.
See
That's believable.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now that's a way to get diabetes.
Eating a woman made of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yep.
I believe that's in the handbook. This is so cool chatting with you, and I hope we get to chat with you again at some point
please.
because I have a feeling you're not done yet. So I have a feeling there's going to be more stuff. So please stay in touch. How can people find you on the web?
So TylerShields.com, the Tyler Shields on Instagram, and just Tyler Shields on Twitter.
Are you going to have a show, like a gallery show anytime soon?
I just had one a couple months ago, so I don't know yet. I have one in June in Cincinnati, and then I'll have Dallas, Texas, and then London towards the end of the year.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Pretty
Well,
fun.
yeah, stay in touch. Mike, where can people find you?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media. I also do another podcast called The Power Pals.
Yes, you do. Matt, where can people find you?
You go to funnymatt.com for links to everything, or if you're upset by me, please let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Yes, which people do. They do have
Genius.
problems with him. Yep, and then he posts all their quotes of everything.
Yeah, they send me hate mail. I put it there.
Yeah.
Wait. I got to say, you just reminded me of something. Do you know Limp Bizkit?
Yeah.
You know Fred Durst?
Yeah.
So I became friends with Fred Durst. We're both from Jacksonville.
He's a great guy.
Super, one of the nicest people ever. He sold the anti-Limp Bizkit merch.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Did he really?
I'm so sorry, Fred, if I'm outing you on this, but
Yeah, like does the guy from Nickelback like make money on the anti-Nickelback stuff? See, that's their issue. Yeah.
Fred is a genius.
Yes.
And I think he made almost as much money on the anti.
Oh, of course.
As he made of his
Yeah,
own.
genius.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so you got to
That's awesome.
you got to make people hate you and then just sell
Yeah.
it to them.
I haven't said anything that
amazing.
made people really hate me in a while. It's
You got time.
Give
I
it time.
get some. Yeah.
Give it time, buddy.
If you make Matt Walker Sucks t-shirts available, I
You'll
will
wear
wear
one?
one.
Okay.
You can actually get t-shirts of the Nighttime Show at thenighttimeshow.threadless.com, where we have t-shirts and sweaters and mugs and shower curtains and bath mats and bedspreads, all
tremendous
available.
All kinds of
Waste.
merchandising.
A tremendous.
Are you guys on a shower curtain?
We are on a shower curtain.
Do you know one of my favorite things to do is give people shower curtains with people on them?
Really?
Have you seen the Jeff Goldblum shower curtain?
Oh yeah,
It's amazing.
it's amazing.
Nicolas Cage pillowcase.
Oh, terrific.
That would be cool.
We have those too. We got the whole 9 yards.
And I know what I'm sending people for Christmas.
There we go. That's perfect. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast and leave us comments and share. We love you. Thank you so much for having us in your home. You're the fucking coolest, man.
Oh, thank you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Thank you.